A janitor died with $8 million in the bank. A Harvard-educated executive who earned millions went completely bankrupt. Same lifetime, completely different endings. The difference? It wasn't about how much they made. It was about how they thought about money. Stay with me, because what I'm about to reveal will completely change how you see wealth forever. What's up, everyone? Today we're diving into Morgan Housel's The Psychology of Money, the book that's been called the Bible of financial behavior by billionaires and broke college students alike. But here's what makes this different from every other money book. This isn't about get-rich-quick schemes. This isn't about crypto tips or stock picks. This is about the 5 psychological lessons that separate people who build wealth from people who stay broke forever, even when they make the same income. I'm going to break down each lesson in a way that'll make you say, "Why didn't anyone tell me this before?" And trust me, by the end of this video, you'll never look at money the same way again. Let's get into it. Lesson 1. Luck and risk. No one's as good or bad as they seem. Let's start with the story I mentioned. Ronald Reed was a janitor and gas station attendant his entire life. When he died in 2014, he had $8 million. Meanwhile, Richard Fosconi, Harvard MBA, vice chairman of Merrill Lynch's Latin America division, went completely bankrupt. What happened? Morgan Housel's first lesson destroys everything you think you know about success. Luck and risk are 2 sides of the same coin, and they have more influence than we want to admit. Ronald Reed didn't have a secret trading strategy. He just bought good stocks, never sold them, and lived below his means for 60-plus years. Was he lucky? Maybe he was lucky to have the temperament for it. Richard Foscone borrowed heavily, took massive risks during the 2008 crisis, and it destroyed him. Was he stupid? No. He was educated and experienced. He just got unlucky with timing. The lesson here is powerful. Stop judging people purely by their outcomes. Someone driving a Ferrari might be drowning in debt. Someone driving a used Honda might be a secret millionaire. You never really know. What this means for you: be humble when you succeed. You probably got luckier than you think. Be compassionate when you fail. You probably weren't as foolish as it feels. Lesson 2. Never enough. The goalpost that keeps moving. Here's a dark truth. Rajat Gupta had $100 million. He was on the board of Goldman Sachs, McKinsey's former CEO, ultra successful by any measure. But he wanted more. So he committed insider trading to make a few more million. He went to prison and destroyed his reputation. Why? Because he compared himself to billionaires and thought, "I don't have enough." The hardest financial skill is getting the goalpost to stop moving. There will always be someone richer. Always. If you can't define enough, you'll chase money forever and never feel wealthy. Houzel says, enough is realizing that an insatiable appetite for more will push you to the point of regret. The top hedge fund managers risking everything for an extra billion? They already have generational wealth. They're not playing for money anymore. They're playing a game they can't win because there is no finish line. What this means for you: define your enough number right now. Write it down. Once you hit it, stop. Protect it. Don't risk what you have and need for what you don't have and don't need. Lesson 3. Wealth versus being rich. The invisible millionaires. Quick question. Who's wealthier? Someone making $500,000 a year spending $480,000, or someone making $100,000 a year spending $60,000? The answer? The person making $100,000 is building more wealth. Here's the difference. Being rich means high income. The fancy car, designer clothes, exotic vacations. Being wealthy means assets that make money while you sleep, and you can't see wealth. Wealth is the nice cars not purchased, the watches not worn, the first-class upgrades declined. Wealth is invisible. We see athletes making $20 million go bankrupt because they confused being rich with being wealthy. They had income. They spent it all on looking rich. And when the paycheck stopped, they had nothing. The real millionaire. They're driving a 10-year-old Toyota, living in a modest house, but they have $3 million invested that's growing 10% per year. What this means for you, stop trying to look rich. Fancy things are the enemy of wealth. Every dollar you spend to impress people is a dollar that can't grow into your freedom. Now, here's where things get really interesting. The next lesson is the one that made me completely rethink my entire approach to investing, and it involves one of the richest people on the planet. Lesson 4. Compound interest, the eighth wonder of the world. Warren Buffett is worth over $100 billion, but here's the crazy part. Over 95% of that wealth came after his 65th birthday. Let that sink in. He started investing at age 10. He's now in his 90s. That's more than 80 years of compounding. If Warren had started at 30 instead of 10, or if he'd retired at 60 instead of working into his 90s, he'd be worth maybe 1% of his current net worth. The snowball doesn't get big because you push it hard. It gets big because you keep rolling it for decades. Here's the math that'll blow your mind. $10,000 invested at 10% for 10 years equals about $26,000. $10,000 invested at 10% for 30 years equals about $174,000. $10,000 invested at 10% for 50 years equals over $1 million. Same starting amount, same return. The difference? Time. What this means for you, start now. Even if it's $50 a month, the biggest mistake isn't picking the wrong stocks, it's waiting to start. Time is your biggest asset. Lesson 5. Getting wealthy versus staying wealthy. Two different games. Getting rich requires optimism, risk-taking, and being bold. Staying rich requires the opposite: humility, fear, and paranoia. This is why so many lottery winners, athletes, and celebrities go broke. They win the first game, getting money, but have no idea how to play the second game, keeping it. Getting wealthy equals offense. Staying wealthy equals defense. Jesse Livermore made and lost millions 4 times in his life. He was a trading genius, but he never learned defense. He kept risking everything, and eventually it destroyed him. Meanwhile, the Walton family, Walmart, has stayed wealthy for generations because they play defense, diversification, low debt, boring investments. Here's the survival mentality. Always assume the world can surprise you. Market crashes, job losses, health crises, they will happen. Your financial plan must survive the worst-case scenario. What this means for you. Never risk what you can't afford to lose. Always have 6 to 12 months of emergency savings. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. A good plan that you can stick with beats a perfect plan you'll abandon. So, there you have it. 5 lessons from the psychology of money that literally no one teaches you in school. If you take just one thing from this video, let it be this. Your relationship with money is more important than the amount of money you have. Money doesn't change who you are. It reveals how you think. Fix your thinking and the money follows. If this video helped you see money differently, hit that like button and subscribe if you want more breakdowns like this. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.